speaking to you about one of our channel partners, Bitdefender. Forever Sports is proudly supported by Bitdefender, one of the global leaders in cybersecurity. Stay safe with the most consistently top-rated antivirus of the last 10 years and counting. To protect yourself from cyber attacks, protect your browsing and personal information, and so much more, get Bitdefender. With Bitdefender's premium VPN, digital privacy and freedom is as easy as flicking on a light switch. Bank, stream, and download without exposing a single byte of personal information. Unblock your favorite streaming sites and get access to content that you want to watch on up to 10 devices today. Effective, invisible, and amazingly affordable. Use the link in the description to get started.
Yeah, g'day Joe. It's, I guess, just under a week of training. How have you found it? You got a team in mind for next week? Have you got that far?
No, but I've loved it. It's the bit of the job that I really enjoy, and I've enjoyed the enthusiasm of the players. And you've always got to be a little bit optimistic, but I'm optimistic with the way they've come together. They're a good group of young men, I think.
We've seen your selection, obviously. Can you give us an insight in how you want to play the game with the Wallabies? In this in the first test and then beyond.
Yeah, even in the broader selection, Peter, I think there's a few different ways you can play. We've got some different size blokes who are able to play the way that they best play. We'd obviously like to be able to play with some tempo, and I don't think that will surprise anyone. I think it's the way that the players like to play the game, and you want players to enjoy playing, and that would obviously be part of it.
We obviously saw you achieve great success with Ireland, and you built a particular style there, but it's not to say you will look to apply those same principles with Australia, or some of them, or none of them, or...
Yeah, it's all, everything's a hybrid. Tends to be, last 2 years with the All Blacks, it was different again, because you just want to try to get the best out of your individual players in some sort of collective game model that they're all invigorated by, but also plays to their strengths as best it can. And I'm still learning what those strengths are, Pato, so I'm not going to say that we've arrived at a way to play that's going to be successful, because that's going to take one more week, hopefully, and then we can put something together next Saturday.
Hey Joe, I just wanted to get your thoughts on Tom Liner. I guess only one full season into his career and already into the mix here. Just can you walk us through what you saw of him throughout the season that's earned this chance? And I guess being so young, is he still very much a genuine chance to get that 10 jumper, or is it more of a long-term exposure thing, and then that tempo you spoke about wanting to play with maybe makes someone more experienced or like a Noah more likely for that job?
Well, I think Tom's got all the attributes, and if you want to play with tempo, it's always good to have a 10 who is, A, he's courageous, he'll take the line on, B, he's got good foot speed, C, he's got a good passing game, and I really like his long kicking game for the size of him. He can put the ball down the field, which some of the time you need to be able to get some oxygen in and find some grass, hopefully. So he's got the full spectrum there. If you'd seen his tackle on Lucan Salakai-Lotto today, when Lucan squared up and went square at him, he doesn't lack for courage there, and he did a really good job of hanging in the tackle. So that all those attributes. Probably the one thing for Tom will be getting his confidence and his ability to communicate and make decisions and demand reactions from the players around him.
And I guess with when it comes to club combinations coming into this environment as well, like, obviously haven't picked the team yet, but Hunter Bassami at 12 there's had an incredible year, and him and Tommy had a really strong combination there. Do you look at pre-existing combinations heading into selection, or is the test environment a bit too different to be able to judge it off that?
Yeah, it's both those things. Definitely look at the cohesion that players may have, having played together before, but also trying to probably best prepare yourself with the best players who have some sort of best preparation for test arena. And you're never going to get that perfect, because some people are going to be making debuts at some stage, and they're not necessarily best prepared, but that's part of our job, is to try to get them as ready as we can.
I just wanted to ask about Timmy Ryan as well, because I know after his debut you were asked about him in Sydney and spoke quite excitedly about what he can offer, and then I guess had a really strong season but still very young and not in the squad here. Was he close, or was it a bit too early for someone like him to be thrown into this mix?
Yeah, I met with Tim for 20 minutes, half an hour this week. So, you know, had a good conversation with Les Kiss around Tim as well, and what's probably best for Tim at the moment. Yeah, a massive breakout season, but he's a raw kid who is very lean, and I just think if I wouldn't be averse to bringing him into a squad at all. I just think if there is a window where we can get some physical development into him, just so he's better prepared. I think we're trying to make sure that we have got players who are prepared before they come in. A lot of his game sense and a lot of his natural instinctive play is fantastic to watch already.
He doesn't like to score a try in the same way either, from what I've seen, and there's been a lot of them, so that must be exciting from your point of view.
Yeah. There's a bit of rinse and repeat, which I like though, in that he uses speed to score. He comes from long support lines to score. He goes up in the air over the top of other players to score, and he chases balls through to score. So that I think I showed Tim all those things on Tuesday evening when we were chatting. So, you know, he's a guy that we're interested in for the future. And there's a number of players that, you know, haven't been named in the squad, but we've met with and chatted to and probably just given a little bit of feedback to for the future.
Hey Joe, it's your third international kind of job, and you started with Ireland just over a decade ago. How much more prepared and how helpful was it having had the experience? And even though they're completely different systems, how much better prepared are you heading into a Wallabies head coaching role on the cusp of, you know, you only got them for 10 days or something before a test?
Yeah, I've never been so unprepared, to be fair. This is the one time I've got to meet all these players, and in those previous roles I'd had 3 years with Leinster, and I knew a greater proportion of that squad. Before the All Blacks I had the Blues, and so yeah, it's a little bit daunting, to be honest, but if I wasn't nervous, I don't think I'd be on the edge doing my job right. So I'm happy to be nervous, because it just encourages me to work a bit harder and engage a bit quicker and a bit more often with the players, so that we can try to be on the same page. One thing I would say is I've got real confidence in our coaching group. Laurie ran a lot of today's session with the defence, and you know, he's a ball of energy, and he's a catalyst for enthusiastic contribution, and did a really good job of today's session. And around the edges, the unit session yesterday, I love the way Mike Cron and Jeff Parling have combined to deliver and demand what they have from the big boys up front. And Owen Toolan is just chipping away on some of the skill tidy ups we think that can make a difference for our backs particularly.
I'm sure you'll be able to answer this question better in a year or 2 or 3 years, but Eddie late last year, on the Stand documentary, at the end of the World Cup campaign, pulled James Slipper aside, and he was caught talking about the fact that Wales is so much hardened because of how long they can play their domestic seasons, and he was saying that Australian rugby players and the Wallabies weren't hard enough in terms of conditioning and test match ready. Do you feel like, from your early observations, where do you sit on that kind of heading into your tenure with Aussie Rugby and Wallabies?
Yeah, I'm not sure. Eddie had more time with them at that stage than I've had, so I don't know them as well. But as I said, I've been really impressed with the enthusiasm and the willingness to take on ideas. I think there's a real growth mindset within the group, and that's very much a shared mindset. So when you've got that, I think it allows the ideas to be implemented, but to actually then deliver them in the physical contest that Test match footy is, the next 3 weeks we'll know more, I think.
Yeah, hey Joe, obviously haven't named a captain yet. Are you going to wait right until team naming day to do so? And also, what have you seen from a leadership point of view in those 4 days so far?
Yeah, we've got a real mix of leaders within the group, and what I have seen has been really encouraging. You know, there's guys who've got good experience, there's guys who lead by example, and there's guys who speak well. So, and I'm just getting to know them. So the complication for me is just, first of all, I think it's easier to select that first captain once you've selected your team, to make sure they're a starting player, and then from there, I think you gauge how well they go, and we just progress through this first 3 week block. Probably there'll be a little bit of movement in the side. I'm pretty sure that we'll use more than just 15 of the same starters, so there could be a different captain for 1 or 2 of the tests, and that will also allow us to just experiment a little bit. But you can't experiment too much when you've got a team like Wales coming, because and their leadership is strong with guys like Dewey Lake and Aaron Wainwright and Dafford Jenkins, Corey Hill coming back in there. They've got lots of experience with guys who lead. So I think that in itself is a really good challenge for our boys to demonstrate their self-leadership and for the individual leaders to stand up.
Got time for a couple more. Thanks, guys.
With Ireland, you drew heavily on that Leinster core for a long time, which was very, very successful. Do you see an opportunity to do the same, something similar, maybe not to the same extent, with the Brumbies contingent?
I haven't really thought about it too much. We're pretty collective in how we selected and in what we've done so far. So there's been certainly nothing intentional about drawing heavily on one particular group of players who play a certain way, because I'm not sure. I know that there are things that we'll do different.
Sort of pick and go sort of success this year. Is that something you think the All Blacks and other international teams might employ, and is a style that you're interested in for the Wallabies at all?
Well, I coached a number of years with Vern Cotter, and VC he loves a little bit of the pick and go game, and when we were coaching together in Bay of Plenty or Claremont, it was certainly part of the armory that we had, and we had some very effective boys at doing it. Tom and Domingo and Elvis Vermeulen, Mario Ledesma. We had a pack that were very adept at doing it, and I think the Blues have got a pack that's very adept at doing it. But it's not just their pack. You get Caleb Clark picking and going. He's so dynamic. He's quick. He's 108 athletic kilos. Mark Talia, he is so slippery in the way he can step and slide through. So they had a confrontational style that was very dynamic. It wasn't like a slow pick and go or setting up pods to pick and go. It was very, very dynamic and hard to stop, wasn't it?
Joe, just on that connection piece, how important is it just not only building it within the sort of playing group, but to those that have worn the jersey before, noting guys like, Tade Kefu, George Schmidt, James Hall have been sort of camp speaking to the guys?
Yeah, that was great yesterday, having those guys at lunch. And I had quite a long chat with George. The last time I think I was with him, we were having cocktails in Limerick, which was, just, I don't know what you're doing having cocktails in Limerick when there's Guinness on tap. But he's just got no ego, George. He's just so down to earth. And it's the same with all those guys. Kev, I've worked a fair bit with Kev in terms of coaching, and he's such a kind of a low level character in terms of no self-promotion, no ego whatsoever, and Slacky and Paul McLean, I've had a coffee with them every time I've been in Brisbane. They're just great guys to talk about the connection piece around rugby. And James I don't know so well, so it's great to get him in and meet him. He's a big lad, I would say that. I did ask him if he's available, but I think he's retired.
Last one, thanks guys.
Can I maybe finish, Joe, with your thoughts on Wales? They had a pretty unhappy Six Nations, and then they were beaten by the Springboks again at the weekend. They named a squad. Just your overall thoughts. They'll be pretty desperate, like you, I suppose, to get the train back on the road. Yeah,
I think Wales will be super tough. They lost 14-12 to a really good England side. The French game, it looks like quite a big score, but if you watch that game, up to the 60th minute, that's anyone's game. So I know scores didn't work out for them, and they lost to Italy, but the Italian game, that was so nip and tuck right till the finish. So sometimes coming out on the wrong side of the scoreboard doesn't reflect how tight the game was, and so there's obviously the recent history of the 40 points to 6 that they put on the Wallabies last time they played them. That will give them the confidence that if they feel they can put their game together, they'll get some guys back in from that South African game, and that will strengthen their side, I think. And it's a bit like that with the South African game as well. They struggled early, they got an early yellow card, and yet they were still only a point down at half time. So they just don't know how to go away, Wales. They are very combative.
Hello everyone, and welcome to Forever Sports. As one of the leading channels in the world providing free coverage of all of your favourite sports, we are asking for your support. Everything that we create at Forever Sports is available for free and always will be. To help us continue delivering high quality content, as well as expanding our coverage, we are asking you to consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. As part of the Forever Sports Members Club, you will gain access to select perks, such as exclusive stickers and emojis to use during our watch-alongs and live streams. You will also gain early access to premium content, as well as have your name listed on the channel under channel members. We strive to deliver quality content that is unmatched by other channels, and are always looking to take things up another level. And our members give us the chance to do this. It is thanks to our members and other support that we get from our fans that we are able to deliver campaigns such as the France 2023 on the ground coverage. So if you would like to continue supporting the channel and the free coverage that it provides, be sure to check the link in the description to become a channel member now.
You probably asked Fluky about that. He's been led by him for a season. I think with Liam, he's really understated. He's a leader in a Super Rugby team anyway, and so he's got that leadership experience. He was identified by the players as a natural leader in the group. He's a line-out caller, so he already has a responsibility in the team. Not that he calls all the line-outs, but it's one of the things that he contributes to. So I think what all the coaches liked about Liam is he doesn't really say that much. He just gets on and gets the job done really well. So that's probably it in a nutshell.
So you sound about the players?
Not about captaincy per se, just around leadership and and probably not even asking that direct question, but just getting a sense of who they felt kind of demonstrated the values and behaviours that they felt they would value the most and would naturally lead, the players that would naturally lead, and that they would try to probably mirror the behaviours that they saw from those people. At the moment, everything's pretty short term, including our preparation. We've had 4 trainings really, so I've really enjoyed working with Liam, but same with all the others from the leadership group and with the players in general. I think they've been a super group to work with, but it's a really interdependent game, rugby. It's one of the things I love about it, but it does mean that your preparation has to be nailed on pretty well if you're going to get the cohesion on a Saturday. And so, while I can't guarantee the cohesion, I think, you know, guys like Josh and the rest of the squad, I can pretty much guarantee the effort that will be there.
When you settle on Liam being in the side and also captain?
Well, it was probably just once we'd selected the side for this weekend. It was a discussion around who's likely to stay on for a long period of time, who already has a responsibility in the team, and not all the players that were selected wanted the responsibility either. You know, some players just want to get on and get their own job done, and while Liam didn't put himself forward, he's accepted the challenge.
Last year Eddie said that he thought it was getting to a point in time when captaincy there might be multiple captains. In your past experience, have you generally stuck with 1 or 2 captains throughout 10 years? And do you see perhaps the future being not so much one captain for 50 tests?
Yeah, it's a difficult one to answer, to be honest, because, you know, I would have had 2 captains in 7 years with Ireland, but inevitably there were other guys who, you know, guys wouldn't be available, and so guys like Pete O'Mahony and Johnny Sexton, those guys in between the Paul O'Connells and Rory Best that were long-term skippers. So you're always going to have a little bit of undulation in that leadership because of availability or selection on a particular test match. So we're just kind of at the moment trying to take it step by step, and that was the first step, was to get the selection, and then to get someone within the selection who already had a leadership role, wasn't going to feel uncomfortable or distracted by the role, and it, you know, it was a confidence we had in Liam as well.
Can you just talk to the overall team and the mix that you went with, a reasonably experienced starting team, I suppose, but then quite inexperienced bench? Can you just talk to the selection in general?
Yeah, we were trying to get balance in a whole lot of ways, and, you know, some of it is around guys who already have a relationship in their super. So, you know, we've got Tate and Tom coming off the bench. They've got a really good relationship. You got Hunter and Josh in the middle of the field. So, you know, there's a few combinations like that. Andy Callaway and Tom Wright have played a bit together in a gold jersey, and you know, I think Filippo for us, he's really versatile. So he's a really good coverall for us, starting on the wing but being able to cover other positions. Up front, again, you know, we've got a real mix. We've got some experience with some huge experience with slips up front, and at the same time, Taniela's been there often enough, but Matt's not so much. At the same time, Matt has been in the Wallabies recently and is quite comfortable there. Lucan and Jeremy Williams, one making their debut, one with some experience, and then the back row with some pretty good experience off the bench. what we're hoping to get out of the bench is that individuals who come on, they come into some experience around them. Just experience is never going to be a solution in itself, but it can contribute to a little bit of confidence and certainty around you just doing your role and them making sure that the player slots in as seamlessly as possible, I think.
There's 7 uncapped players. It's the most since 1980. Did you envision that you would have so many uncapped players when you first entered the job?
No. I guess it's probably difficult sometimes externally to comprehend, but for me, they're just 7 players. The fact that they haven't worn a Wallaby jersey before this is, it's relevant, but it's not going to be pivotal or tip the equilibrium in selection. We just felt that we had a balance. A young guy like Charlie Cale, and he had a little bit of an injury coming out of the end of the Super Rugby, so it was good for us to build him in and slot him in behind someone like a Rob Valentini and Liam and Fraser, where there's good experience, and he'll slot in there somewhere in the second half and bring that athleticism that he's got to it. As I said, with Tate and Tom up front, I think the leadership at the back end of the game, having someone like Alan Alatoa, particularly when you've got someone like Isaac Kailea. Isaac, he is a debutant, so having him there, and Billy's only had 1 game, so Alan's a perfect guy. He's played with Billy, and he'll be able to keep Isaac on track and give him some confidence that he's in a Wallaby front row when he does come on. So those sort of combinations. Angus Blythe has really impressed us. He's a big fella, Angus, and I think building him forward, he's been so enthusiastic in everything he's done, and there's a real contest in that second row area. I think you will see probably a couple of different combinations over the next couple of weeks, so that we kind of find out where they all sit amongst each other.
You've had such a limited time with the playing group, so what tipped it for you with the guys that you've chosen? What were the key things you were looking for this week?
I think some of that super connection and some of that balance, as I was explaining, with the guys coming off the bench, bringing those young guys on with them and then slotting in amongst experienced guys, hopefully some of the guys that they already know anyway. And then it was probably just some of them are a bit fresher than others. Some had big Super Rugby campaigns. Ryan Smith was super in camp, but he played so many minutes, and he has so many match involvements when he plays. Everyone's minutes don't look the same. He just gets involved in so much play. So that was part of the balance in trying to have a really keen, fresh group, but a balance of experience and I suppose a balance of what we saw potential in, that hopefully that potential becomes the performance that we need.
You're going to use this July series the way that sounds like you're talking there as a block to ascertain perhaps your best team for the start of the Rugby Championship or something?
I wouldn't say that. Inevitably, there's going to be things we find out about players, but every moment in a test match is important. Every time somebody gets a chance to put on a test match jersey, it's important. And we've got to be short-term focused and make sure we win as many of the moments that matter on Saturday, so that we build some confidence in combinations, but also keep the scoreboard ticking over. And that are slightly different challenges. The scoreboard always helps confidence if it's going in your direction. At the same time, having time on the pitch together builds confidence, because you'll know that you build trust through having a relationship where somebody delivers and then you can rely on them delivering, and so it'll be very much that.
A couple of players, Josh Luke, I can ask about him and him getting an opportunity, but also if you can
hard to talk about Fluky here. I suppose he's, I certainly want to keep him grounded before he gets to Saturday. But he's just a quiet achiever. You know, you don't see or hear a huge amount from Josh, but you just see him do the right thing at the right time a lot of the time. And if he can do that for us on Saturday, that would be massive. I talked about his combination with Hunter, and even with Filippo, that he knows. So that will help, even with Tom and Tate when they come on. So that sort of fitted for us, and we've been really impressed with the way that he's slotted in very quickly. Good skill set with his passing, kicking skills as well. So it's a good little package for us that hopefully, he's looking forward to delivering. And then Angus, again, he's just been so enthusiastic, and I think he's 205, 2 metres 05, but he can play really low to the ground, and a lot of big men struggle to play low to the ground, and just with the game the way it is, defensively, particularly in the tackle, just having a guy of his size who can get down and chop nice and low, and be nice and big in the moments we need him to be at line out time, and then be able to get that clean out nice and low and get that tackle nice and low.
Josh, for yourself, that moment when you told you sort of wearing the Wallabies gold jersey, how did it happen, and what was the sort of first reaction to it?
Definitely a lot of smiling involved. That was for sure. It was just Joe named the team list on Tuesday during our meeting pre-training session. So I was pretty stoked. Had a couple of boys around me, so a couple of pats on the head. And then was very quickly on the phone to Dad to let him the good news. And I was just really excited. Couldn't wipe a smile off my face.
Your journey coming back from a couple of significant injuries, and sort of just make this moment even smoother, sort of see it out, come through via Australia, and eventually get this sort of next step up to the national team?
Yeah, obviously it was always the goal. It probably came a bit earlier than I was expecting, but both the shoulder injuries had a big impact on me, but how I came back from that, I had a very good group of people around me with my family and all the staff there at the Reds. So, it was good, came back strong, and I'm really happy to be here.
So those shoulder injuries, what's that sort of teach you about yourself, about sort of that resilience and that sort of toughness you need to handle the pressure that comes with test match football?
Yeah, definitely, it has an impact on that pressure. But every player goes through an injury. Everyone's dealt with some type of injury in their career, or they will at some point. So everyone's got that type of resilience in them. You can't not have that resilience if you want to be a rugby player.
So comment on Liam Wright, someone who's come through that sort of that corporate with you. What is sort of type of leader is he? Jason did not sort of much in words, but how does he lead his actions, and how will he help sort of this group get the best out of themselves on Saturday?
Yeah, he'll just be everywhere. He'll lead from the front foot. He'll run around the field. He'll put his head into the dark places where I don't want to put my head. That's for sure. But he's not a big speaker at all. But when he talks, you listen. He has some very good words to say, so you're switched on when he wants to tell you something.
Joe, is part of the motivation when you're picking a guy like Liam Wright or Jeremy Williams, their sense of opportunity, the way that they're going to react to what you're doing?
Not intentionally, but you hope that's something. You get a reaction that they feel, wow, this is my opportunity. I want to grab it with both hands, and then I want to balance that with a calmness, a clarity of what I need to do for the team, because we can't afford to be overly emotional, and it'll be an emotional moment. It'll be emotional when the national anthems are sung, and it'll be emotional up until the kickoff. But I think particularly professional players nowadays, they're very good at starting to kind of, I suppose, just close the focus around what's immediately important, and that will be the ball in the air and Jeremy going up to catch it, or that first clean out that Liam's required to do. Whatever that action is, I think they'll be able to isolate the actions that are required rather than the emotion that will spill over a little bit potentially, in that lead up immediately before the test match kicks off.
Pretty well, I'd imagine, from your duels back in the Six Nations. It's a reasonably new look Wales team as well, but what's your assessment of what's coming the other way by that team?
Yeah, I've known Gats for a long time. We played against each other. I even played a couple of games with him, so I know that that Gats he will spark the emotional cues, and he will have a very passionate Welsh team charging out there on Saturday night. And some of those guys, similarly, I suppose, to our guys, have been given an opportunity. A young guy like Ben Thomas, that's a massive opportunity for him. Mason Grady being retained in that midfield, he's a big young kid. And young Hathaway on the wing, exciting young, dual qualified. So there's always an encouragement there to make sure he's put that Welsh jersey on before an England one comes anywhere near him. So those sorts of things. And I know Liam Williams pretty well. I remember him playing his very first professional game, Scarlets against Leinster, and he was marking a guy, Issa Nathawa at the time, and I think it was a bit of a baptism of fire for him. And he's come through the fire, and he has had an outstanding career. Probably the highlight I remember of Liam Williams was the Lions 2017, where he sparked a try from virtually from his own goal line in that first test against the All Blacks. So he's had some fantastic moments. He's a competitor, massive competitor. So I think they've been looking for the balance of experience and opportunity. Similarly, we've gone down a similar pathway.
Joe, the Wallabies have struggled to close out really tight games for a long time, and the Waratahs did as well this year. Is there certain areas of the game that you've had to highlight, or mental aspects of the game to try to address the last 10 minutes and closing out matches?
We probably haven't got that far down the track. We're just trying to stack a whole lot of good moments together, and I think if we're focused on the action we're delivering, hopefully we're not too much distracted by any anxiety of that last 10 minutes and it's still tight on the scoreboard. We're more focused on, we've got a left-hand scrum, this is my role, and more about what we're doing rather than those extraneous factors that can be distracting.
Josh, from captain of the schoolboys back in 2019, I think it was, a lot of other guys have kind of had opportunities with the Wallabies. Did you feel like you were getting closer and closer, or how's it been the last couple of years of knowing that others are getting chances and now you might get yours?
Yeah, no, it's been pretty cool. I've got Billy Pollard and Zane Nongor in here, and we were both in that team, and Tommy Hooper as well, back in the day that played over in New Zealand. So no, it's been really cool to watch those blokes get those opportunities, and they've thoroughly deserved it. But now to be here with them, it's really exciting, and I just can't wait to get out there Saturday and step foot onto the field.
Joe, you've spoken about Tom Liner a little bit in the last little while, but you've actually selected him in the team. What convinced you that he was good to go on test run?
Yeah, Tommy, again, he's a cool customer, Tom. You talk to him, he just doesn't get ruffled. I've tried to ruffle him, to be fair, and put him under a little bit of pressure, but he just doesn't get ruffled. I love that, and I think the players around him love it, because what you want is that calm in that real hub pivot position. You want someone who's not going to be ruffled, who's going to stay nice and clean and clear in their thinking and then in their delivery or their whatever they're required to do, either side of the ball. And I know I've spoken about his courage before, and I don't have any doubts about him stepping up there. They will bring a big direct midfield carry at us. They'll get Aaron Wainwright running off things and running down channels. And Tom is the sort of guy who'll go, well, he won't say anything. He just get on and do it. And if that's his tackle, then he'll make that tackle. So, yeah, I've been impressed with a number of players who are able just to stay focused on what needs to be done rather than getting ruffled or distracted by things that they can't really control anyway. They can only influence what's immediately in front of them.
Sorry to run you through every single player. With Jake Gordon being in that same role, certainly disappointing here with the task, but got him at 9.
Yeah, Jake again. He's probably just had the sharpest of the pass of the three guys so far, and he's got that really nice long kicking game, high kicking game, and those are elements that I think we can make use of. Particularly, we looked earlier at you can't tell Sydney weather early in the week, so we had a look and it looked like it was going to be rain, but now it's saying sunny, so it's probably going to be rain. So we're 48 hours out and things fluctuate a lot. What we don't want to fluctuate is whatever does turn up, we turn up with the right sort of armory, and we just felt Jake had the right sort of armory for us to kick the first test off with.
Thanks, guys.
Hello everyone and welcome to Forever Sports. As one of the leading channels in the world providing free coverage of all of your favourite sports, we are asking for your support. Everything that we create at Forever Sports is available for free and always will be. To help us continue delivering high quality content, as well as expanding our coverage, we are asking you to consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. As part of the Forever Sports Members Club, you will gain access to select perks, such as exclusive stickers and emojis to use during our watch-alongs and live streams. You will also gain early access to premium content, as well as have your name listed on the channel under channel members. We strive to deliver quality content that is unmatched by other channels, and are always looking to take things up another level. And our members give us the chance to do this. It is thanks to our members and other support that we get from our fans that we are able to deliver campaigns such as the France 2023 on the ground coverage. So if you would like to continue supporting the channel and the free coverage that it provides, be sure to check the link in the description to become a channel member now.
I think I just bring a team first mindset. That's all I've ever tried to do when I play for the team, and that's all I'm going to try and do. I've got plenty of leaders to lean on, plenty of experienced guys in this team, so I'm not going to try and do anything above and beyond. Just focus on what the team needs and hopefully let my rugby do the speaking first.
Surprise,
Yes, sorry.
Can we just push the journos a bit further that way so that she's not so side on, please? Thank you. Did you get a heads up from Joe, a little private coffee date, or was it a bit of a surprise when it happened?
No, it was a full surprise. I was pretty nervous Tuesday morning, trying to hopefully be in the 23, and it was very privileged to be able to start, and then just saw the little captain's armband underneath that, and it was a big surprise. Joe didn't give me any little heads up or anything like that, and I think that's the way he likes to play a bit. Keeps cards close to his chest, but it was a massive honour, a really special moment, not only to be back in Wallaby Gold, but to be able to lead the boys is, it's just been an awesome week.
Was it done in front of the team, Liam?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was a whole team announcement. 1 through 23. Pretty special to be able to share that with the 7 debutants as well, and a few guys making their way back into the jersey after a long while. So it was a really special day, and it's been a great week so far.
Who's the first person you called?
What
was their reaction?
Probably called the missus first, just to make sure I was in the good books there, and called mum and dad a bit after that. It was a bit of a weird one. We were straight on the bus to Daisyville to do training, so didn't want to do that in front of everyone, but sent a few text messages saying back in the team, everything, and how special it was to be named captain, and then made the calls around lunchtime after we finished Test Match Tuesday.
How does it feel to the lineage when you look back as 89th Test captain and you see a name like Liner there as a previous captain, and yet the prospect of playing with his son tomorrow? How does that feel?
It's exciting, and it's just so special. Noddy sent a nice message to Tom and to me. When you look at guys like that, just the amount of pride they have in the jersey, and that's what we're really trying to instill. Looking forward towards the future always, and giving as much as you can into the jersey for the next person. So that's the focus I'll be doing on, and then I think it'll probably sink in a bit more after the game, and just how important it is and how cool it is for Australian rugby and for my family as well.
Do you get a sense that the captaincy is something long term for you, or is it just for this test, or did Joe sort of explain what he's thinking long term?
Look, I don't think there's a huge long term view at the moment. I think it's probably just focusing on this series at the moment. I'm going to do the best I can and in this jersey for as long as I get to. I don't think there's any huge decisions made on going past this too much at this point, but look, I'm going to try and represent the jersey as best I can, represent the role as best I can, and then leave it in Joe's hands after that.
Take us into your journey the last few years. It's been a little bit different to years gone by. Like, how has that been to the point where you're going to be Wallaby skipper tomorrow?
Yeah, it's been an unusual journey. I got a taste of Wallaby Gold quite early in my career, and it was so special. But I think being away from the jersey with injuries for the last 3 or 4 years, I think my last Test match was just under 4 years ago. My last time in the squad was 3 and a bit years ago. So having to watch from afar, and especially when my body wasn't able to do the job, it was tough. But I think that's built me more into the man I am today. I feel a lot more ready now in the squad than I probably did 4 years ago, and I think I can add a lot more to the team. And that's all I'm going to do. I think I am proud of the resilience I've shown and fighting my way back here. And I think there was always a belief in the back of my mind that if I could get my body right, play a full season, play consistently, I think that's what I pride my game on, then I could find my way back into the squad. And this is an absolute blessing and a bonus.
Talk us through that adversity of the last few years, Liam.
Look, it's been tough because a lot of the injuries I don't look at as not being prepared and not being ready. Doing a shoulder, scoring a try, coming down from a line out a bit funny and your ankle popping, sort of things like that. It was a lot of stuff out of my control, which took a lot of inward looking, I think, and soul searching to be able to put that past, let go of the anger and the bitterness, and just move on to the next job. And one thing I think I really did learn, which I think's helped my leadership probably, is all right, I'm not able to play, but what can I do to support the boys and support the team? And I feel like I've been able to bring that back now that I'm on the field, and just have that as my sole mindset. And I feel recovery-wise, process-wise, all that sort of stuff, mentally, physically, I feel in a better place, and I'm going to try and bring my all.
Can you just talk a little bit about what you're
Last couple
expecting
of things,
from Wales tomorrow and what the team needs to do to counter their game?
Yeah, I think Wales are going to be very combative. They've got a big forward pack. They like to play that heavy style, especially around the breakdown, and I think that's where they're going to put a lot of pressure on us. I think we've seen a lot of test matches where if the forwards don't front up around the breakdown, that's where it can really cost you. I think we've chosen an exciting team, lots of enthusiasm in the debutants, I think, but I think for us to really unleash that exciting backline that we've got, the forwards need to do the job up front.
I don't think Wales haven't won here since 1969, I think. Statistic is that, does that sort of stuff come into play with you? Is that extra pressure, or you don't think about that type of thing?
Look, we're not really thinking about that. A lot of the focus this week have been around us. Obviously we've had a little bit of a short preparation, but focusing on us, the systems we can get in place, the connections we can grow during this week. Wales will throw a lot of things at us, but I think if our systems are strong, if we fight and are connected together, we'll do well. And that Wales team, they've obviously had a lot more wins than since 1969. Obviously with the World Cup last year, that was a difficult one to take, but lots of learnings have been made, and we can't wait for Saturday.
Last one, please. A really tough World Cup for the group, like a bit of a new chapter for Australian rugby of sorts. Does the playing group recognise that, and how has it been spoken about this week in terms of trying to move past things from last year?
Yeah, that's one of the things I've been really impressed with is obviously there's been lots of talk about the World Cup and things like that, but it hasn't just been swept under the carpet. It's been a lot of learnings. We've showed a lot of clips from that game on areas that we could have capitalised on but didn't, areas that they capitalised on that we need to be wary of. But the boys have really taken it upon themselves not to just hide away from it and shy from the fact, but to actually learn from it, grow themselves, and not only as players but as people, because it was a challenging time. And I think from all the guys I've spoken to so far that they've really...
Right, hello everybody and welcome to Forever Rugby on Forever Sport. Bit of a delayed kickoff over here. I'm not entirely sure why. It was scheduled to kick off at 2:15, but this is the Australian broadcasts always do this actually, so it is not kicked off if that's what you're worried about. But we are live for Australia versus Wales. What a game we've got ahead of us today, and really looking forward to seeing what we're going to see under the two. I mean, they're both new coaches really in terms of the era. Warren Gatland is obviously not new to Wales, but it's a bit of a new era for him. And then Joe Schmidt, it's first test for the Wallabies underneath him, and I expect the Wallabies to get so much better with him at the realm. So very, very interested to see how things go. And it's at home for Australia, and they've got to try and capitalise that. They've got to make that count. They've got to make sure that that they take their chances. For example, that they get off to a good start, because this is the side that knocked them out of the World Cup, and in pretty horrendous fashion. And Michael Hooper, by the way, is there, and I'll be walking out as they acknowledge him for the I mean, not for everything really. Michael Hooper, I mean, Australia legend for years and years and years, sort of dragged this Wallabies side through thick and thin, with very little support sometimes. But what a legend of the game he is. Did not make the 7 squad to go to the World Cup. He will lead the teams out as they do pay homage to him, and yeah, very, very cool to see them acknowledge him. I think he was somebody that I don't think was ever going to get enough plaudits for what he did for Australian rugby. So very cool that he does get to at least sort of say goodbye on his terms. We'll go through the team in just a bit, but I want to get some score predictions in. Let me know where you're watching from, who you're supporting, for example, and what you think we might see. You know, are we going to see a whole completely different Wallabies side under Joe Schmidt? I think what we are going to see is we're going to see a side that's going to take a while to get going. So I think that's going to be kind of inevitable. He even says much. He kind of expects to see what the debutants bring, for example, and he was supposed to say that he expects to see them making mistakes, expects to see them to see a bit of nerves coming through. So he's not expecting perfection, but I think the main thing is he wants to give these kids the exposure. Well, some of them are quite a bit older. Give them the exposure, get them playing international rugby, and get them comfortable at this level as soon as possible. And that's the main thing. They've got a British and Irish Lions series next year, so they don't have the luxury of time, like for example, Warren Gatton does. Although he does lose a season next season, but even that, for example, becomes quite useful for some of the coaches. The fact that they get that British and Irish Lions series, they go on a tour without certain players. Gives them an opportunity to take a look at their depth, for example. So for Joe Schmidt, it's about basically using these sort of 12 games they're going to have from now until Christmas to get a team working. Because the next time they'll turn out after that will be against the British and Irish Lions, which is going to be a massive, massive test. So not a lot of time for Joe Schmidt. But again, the two teams that are very much in their reset stages and rebuilding phases. So I think an opportunity for both sides to really have a good go. It's a difficult one to call. I'll call it Australia win, but I don't think it's going to be that convincing. And I'd love to see a Welsh win. I really do. I think that this Welsh side, I'm a big fan of the Welsh side. I obviously watched it during the World Cup. I actually watched it. I was at the Australia versus Wales game. Lots of very heartbroken Australian fans, but I've always enjoyed the Welsh side since they came down to South Africa. I think it was about 3 years ago, 2022. 2 years ago. Really enjoyed the time that I spent with them. Very, very impressive people, for example. Very humble, very nice. And I think that, from them, I've always enjoyed Wales rugby, to be honest. So very keen to see how that goes. But we've got the Anthems underway at the moment. I've got a couple of people in the comments talking about who they're supporting, so let me know as well. Marok saying he is supporting Wales here. Vivian Young saying, watching from South Africa, supporting Wales. Visible is in Dubai, reckons 34 Australia, 18 Wales. So predicting a reasonably dominant victory here for the home side. And a lot of Australian fans will be very, very nervous, I think, coming into this for lots of different reasons. As I said, it's an exciting time, but things have got to get so good quickly that I think that's what where the worry comes. The fact that there's just no time for them to be stuffing around. There's no time to get this wrong, to be honest, because as mentioned, they've got a British and Irish Lions series to contend with very, very soon. So we've got the Canterbury Male Voice Choir singing the Welsh anthem, which is one of the best anthems out there. I have a dream of going and listening to this at the Millennium Stadium, whether it'll ever get. I'm sure I'll get there. Such a cool anthem to listen to. Right, we've got a poll running in the comments as well, asking who are you supporting? At the moment, after 206 votes, just 2% separating the two. So very, very close poll over there. Giuseppe said we want to resurge in Australia for World Cup 2027. 100%. Yeah, the anthems are currently underway. And if you're looking to watch the game, check the description. We do have a guide. It is being shown on Channel 9 over in Australia. So if you get yourself a VPN, like Bitdefender or ExpressVPN, for example, you can then go connect to the Australia server and watch the game on Channel 9. So that's how you can watch the game. Right, got the Australian National Anthem now currently underway. Being sung by the Australian Rugby Choir. So we've got the choirs in today, which is always quite cool. I always think that's why I love like the alternation. I mean, I just love watching rugby in the Northern Hemisphere. They bring out the full shebang with the bands, the choirs, the works. It's always a big occasion, which is always very, very cool. So yeah, so Anthem on the way, and then we'll have kick off at about 12 o'clock. It's so frustrating when they always say 11:45, and it's not 11:45, is it? That's like the time they sort of come out, they walk out. And they always do as Australian broadcasters. It drives me up the world. Interestingly, Joe Schmidt has seen the anthem of Australia, obviously born in New Zealand. Has coached Ireland before, obviously for those 6 years where he was the Ireland coach. Before that, he was with Leinster. Did a sort of claim up through the New Zealand system as a Blues assistant coach for 3 years before going over to Europe, and has then made his way back to New Zealand as an assistant coach for the Blues and an assistant coach for New Zealand for a year. Now the head coach of Australia, and looking to try and make them the rugby giants they once were. We are talking about a team that has won the World Cup, for example. So we need to see that Australian of old and be competitive and kind of sort of save rugby, which is what Eddie Jones was threatening to try and do. We're going to save rugby, but to be perfectly honest, coming in for a year and then dipping to Japan, probably not the best way to do that. So it is at the Alliance Stadium, by the way. We are in Sydney. There's a bit of a double header. The Wallabies are playing playing Fiji women. I think it was before this. I don't know if it was after. I'm not entirely sure on that, but yeah. So check on the description. We do have. The guide there. So it's been shown on Channel 9, so you can go check it out there. Right, so in terms of the lineups, as I said, lots and lots of debutants for both sides tonight. Especially a big one is for the Welsh number 10, who's played just one senior game at Flower Half. So a very, very big test ahead for the young Ben Thomas, who will get things underway over here. And first time, 89th captain, by the way, of Australia, Liam Wright. First time he will skip with the game. And here we go. Ben Thomas will get things underway. Going on that right-hand side, and it is going to be an early touch for Filippo Dagnub. And Christchurch, the number 4 for Wales, getting a nice urge to make a big hit there. Try and make his physicality known. Big moment in the game, by the way. Aaron Wainwright playing his 50th test today. And will find touch eventually will Ellis Bevan in his second start for Wales. Right, so Welsh Lions here on the halfway line. You're looking to try and take it quickly. Dewey Lake takes it. This Welsh captain. Good work from him. Aaron Wainwright now in the midfield. You'll see him carry all day. Be one of the main carriers for Wales. Quick ball this year for Ellis Bevan. And a bit of space over there. Nicely worked over there to Josh Hathaway. Now back on the right side to Dewey Lake. Bit of a human juggernaut. Quick ball here to Bevan. Thomas goes to the boot. Lurking on that right-hand side is Rio Dyer. No, in fact, it's actually Mason Grady who was up there. He has played a lot of rugby on the wing, so you wouldn't be surprised if you do see that. But there's been no advantage. I think there was a call coming from the TMO. No arms tackle. Will go back for penalty for Wales up towards the halfway line. So no arms tackle there from against James Slipper. That is one of the interventions of the TMO, the fact that they can come in and intervene. And he's going to take the 3 points. Ben Thomas is going to kick for goals here. Primarily plays an inside centre. As you can see how he goes, yeah. Not his usual position. But you won't get obviously seeing something in him that he enjoys. Sam Costello, who's been the predominant number 10 for Wales the last couple of years, is on the bench. And there's no issue there from Ben Thomas. So he gets his first points in a Welsh jersey, his first test points. There are a couple of Welsh fans watching on. That's a perfect start, actually, that for the Welsh. A restart there, good restart there for Wales. So start, and I need to try to capitalise on this. The perfect start ready for Warren Gatling. Want to try and get that first points to the board. He's got that. Get away, back of the side. Good tackle out of him. Gordon. Not Alessio. Good work there. Working their way down the left-hand side. Nice little carry there from Lucan Selakato-Loto. Got to go to the butcher is Jake Gordon. Lifts it high in the air. Liam Williams, one of the best in the world, under the high ball goes up. But it's actually coming back the Australian side. A knock-on advantage here. Gordon to the left. Let's see a bit of space in behind. Is it going to hold up? Rio Dyer's coming back. Ben Thomas is getting across. Ben Thomas does get there first. A little bit of pressure. They have to scramble here to do Wales, but they scramble really well. The ball is secured. In deep inside the 22, Aaron Wainwright is going to pick up and go. He's got Christ Tunes a bit in behind him. And a penalty for coming in from the side. They've been very, very harsh at the breakdown. I mean, we saw Amish Kelly making some big calls there. Rob Ballatini putting a lot of pressure on there for Australia. And Wales have been pinged, so a penalty for Australia. Reckon they'll go for the corner here. Lolacia back into the number 10 jersey after sort of he was kind of being backed and then was kind of left out for the World Cup. It's a bit of a strange one, but he's back in the mix and very much needs to be back because Carter Gordon has signed that deal going to Rugby League. Faisal, it's a good line up there to his captain, Wright. At the back is the Fessler. Penalty advantage as well. Jake Gordon goes to... That's good wrap around. That's good work on that. Andrew Kellaway. Penalty advantage for a high tackle. And there's a penalty here. A couple penalties. Referee actually punching Alessio in the face there. And they are going to take the points. So Alessio is going to have a go. I actually don't think it's as bad of a tackle as initially looks like, to be fair, from Liam Williams. Right, so Lolas here, right in front of the poles here. Should be 3-3 here after 7 minutes. Yeah, no issues there. Right, 3 points apiece. Scores level after 7 minutes. Good work there at the kickoff from Australia. Taken in by Jeremy Williams. New lock pairing today for the Wallabies. A lot of new faces. It's going to take a while to get used to this Wallabies side. Joe Schmidt very much sort of rolling the dice and looking to build for the future. It's nice to kick that from Jake Gordon, getting up towards the halfway line. Warren Gatton watching on in the second tenure as Welsh coach. Had so much success, was Six Nations champions all those years ago. Now here's the captain, Dewey Lake, with the ball in hand. Thomas goes to Tompkins. Goes short to Aaron Wainwright, almost getting through. Nice good carry from him. Quick ball, yeah, now for Bevan. Now Thomas. Skip pass all the way past everybody into touch. Not a good moment that from the number 10. And a look at Rio Dye. I don't know if it was lookers in terms of, where were you, why weren't you there? But let's have a look at this here. Ben Thomas seeing that space. I mean, that actually goes right in front of Ben. I can see why he looks at Rio Dye. I think Rio Dye should have actually been getting there. Lolesio, that's a big tackle. It's a good offload though. Kellaway finding a bit of space. Kellaway through. Gets it to Wright. Desperate tackle that from Liam Williams. It's a great tackle as well. Gets onto his hand and slows things down a little bit. It's a ball for Valentini. Aaron Wainwright completes the tackle. What a tackle that was from Liam Williams. Now Jeremy Williams on the 22 here. Penalty advantage for Australia. Lolesio. Top over the top from Wright. Bit of space towards the big man. Liam Wright, the captain. Presents well. Jake Gordon arriving. Still penalty advantage for the Wallabies. Good pressure, this. Very, very good pressure. Little ball in behind from Lolesio, which is not a bad option, but nobody was actually really in tune to it. So they go back for the penalty. So Welsh discipline hurts them at the moment. Going to the comments, man, Africa saying that's not a hard tackle. Yeah, I think talking about the Liam Williams one. I thought it was a bit harsh, to be fair. Anyway, I'd say happy Saturday watching Cape Town. Wales will win, he reckons. Well, at the moment, Wales under a lot of pressure. Australia started off well. Rob Valentini's getting a bit of treatment. And Lolesio is going to have another shot at goal here. It's not particularly difficult either, so this could very well be Australia into the lead after almost 11 minutes. Oh, he's shifted to the right-hand side. That's not a good kick from him. He kicked very well during Super Rugby Pacific, but that is not a good kick at all. Man, Africa said this is exciting rugby from both teams' sides. Besides penalties, Wales are much more cohesive. Yeah, they have looked quite strong when they've had ball in hand, but they are under a bit of pressure with some of their discipline. Joe Schmidt on his feet, watching on. Very, very weird miss that from Noah Lolesio. Thomas goes deep. Underneath it. Yeah, good work there for Mason Gray. Now back inside Gordon. A little ball below the top from Lolesio. I'll tell you what, that's a barraging run there for Jamie Williams. Good work there from him. That's a great tackle. Huge tackle that. Ball's come loose once again. Knock-on advantage there for Wales. No advantage. Let's have another look at this. Trying to work out who it was. That's a massive tackle. That's the kind of physicality Warren Gatton will be asking from his team. Lolesio there with the ball over the top. It was a good ball over the top to Jamie Williams. And then, but yeah, just a big hit there from Jenkins as he spilted forward there. So it will be a scrum here for Wales. First scrum of the day coming off 12 minutes. Any models? No, it will not be on radio or on SABC. They had a contract in place, and then apparently SABC pulled out. I think basically they had to then pay, and they didn't have the money. So it'll not be shown on SABC later. Massive, massive scrum from Australia, and they get the penalty there. Look what it means to James Slipper. The experience of Slipper and Tanil Tupou. Just too much power there for Wales to cope with. Right, so there should be another option for Lolesio, I reckon, to have a shot at goal. Wasn't the best kick earlier on, but this is much easier right in front of poles. That's a much better strike. Right, so Australia do eventually take the lead in the 14th minute. Much better kick that from Noah Lolesio. A deep kick there from Gordon. Now Liam Williams is going to kick and chase himself. That's a good take there from Lolesio. Gordon out of the left-hand side to Tupou. And a penalty advantage for the offside. Gordon, Lolesio. Tries to turn Ben Thomas, who is well positioned, but they'll go back for the penalty. So Wales' discipline at the moment, killing them really, it must be said. Got to try and tighten it up a little bit. Right, so let's see what the Wallabies can conjure up. They're just past the 10-meter line, yeah. Good work, that. Now wrap around there. Dagunu coming off the wing. Now James Slipper in the midfield. Good carries this from Australia on the front foot. Gordon, quick ball. Goes to Fezler. Slipper now once again. Okay, Gordon. Lolesio goes himself. Now working their way back on the right-hand side. Oh, bit of a space there. Almost opening up actually for Wright. Now going inside ball. Oh, Cheapy's been hammered there. Talk about it's a penalty for offside against Australia. Got hammered there to Tom Wright. It's a nice idea from Gordon, but not particularly well executing. He's been hammered behind. So, and Jay Slipper's down receiving a bit of treatment. I think he's going to be replaced here, is Jay Slipper, actually. No, I think James Slipper could have his the end of his game here, actually. Not looking good yet for the veteran prop. So we've got a bit of a break in play to try and get that sorted. He's going to get strapped up here. So I think he will continue here, Will James Slipper. He's got some strapping on his knee, and as he plods back to the line out. And they've won the line. They have Australia. Goes back to Fraser McWright. Olasio goes and enjoys the line. Nice work. He makes a few meters there, does Josh Fluke. Now Gordon. Fesler goes into Williams. Penalty advantage. Another penalty. Wales discipline. Really not good enough. No release is the call. And I think it's going to be a conversation to Dewey Lake here, who is the man who's been penalised. And the referee just saying there's probably too many penalties here. Dewey Lake saying to his team, no more. They are at risk of losing a man to the bin if they continue with this sort of penalty count. Bye.